them come. This is their fate.
All right. Welcome back to the House of Wolves podcast. I am your host, Deontay. Here are my near and dear friends, Jalen and Josh. Today we got a special for you guys. We wanted to wait until after the Xbox Direct to upload, so we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about Xbox current strategy. We're going to be talking about the Switch 2 announcement and much, much more. So before we get started, per usual, Jalen, Josh, tell the people how you been, what you've been up to, what you've been playing, how's life going, any news you want to share, anything that's going on. Talk to the people.
Yeah, so it's been a minute since we all were together, but me and the family have been doing all right, working as usual. Brand new games, nothing. It's probably gonna be like that for a while for me because I've been when I have free time, I've mostly been playing Marvel Rivals, on, do some challenges, stuff like that. Pretty fun. Not much has changed since because I think we talked about the last two characters that came out, Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic.
Right.
They're both pretty fun to play, and yeah, the game I think is in a good spot right now. We'll see how that goes because they're planning, quick drops of characters.
Yep. Like you said, it was 4 for this season, right?
Yeah, 4 for this season. All of the Fantastic Four characters. And I don't know the cadence, but I think the season maybe lasts through, I don't know, maybe 4 months. So it'll be a character every 3 weeks or something like that.
Okay. Nice.
But yeah, we'll see. But Marvel Rivals is fun. I was playing a RPG at some point. Oh, Wayfinder, yeah. I was finishing up Wayfinder. I talked about that a little bit a couple weeks ago. It's a pretty fun, not free to play. It used to be a live service, but now it's only $20. Diablo looter RPG game. I'm almost done with the main story, and I'm going through all the characters, trying to make sure I level them all up because you can just switch your weapons and items between characters, so it makes it easy to switch over and then start leveling up the characters. Once I'm done with that, I think I'm gonna put the game down and then switch to something else. But for me, it's kind of a slow season. I'm gonna, get back to some games in my backlog before buying anything new. The new game I'm looking forward to, I guess, will be Monster Hunter, but I still got another month and a half for that, looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, family's good. And it's getting a little warmer here in Japan, which is surprising. And, looking at certain parts of the U.S., it's snowing. So it's a crazy world.
Yeah, it really is. It's freezing here. And it's been freezing for a while. But let me stop before I start going into my spiel. Jalen, talk to the people. How you been? What you been up to?
Shoot, what up, y'all? What I've been up to? I just been playing Metaphor. Just been trying to beat that so far.
What day you on? Or
I think I'm on August 20th or something.
August 20th. Okay.
Yeah, I got about 40 hours on that mug now. So
putting in time. Listen to that soundtrack.
Yeah.
Hey, that rival, man, y'all heard that rival candidates, man?
Yeah, I was listening to it yesterday.
I'm like, man, this song hard, bro. I'm like, hey, this song hard, bro. I'm like, man, I was working on to that mug.
The soundtrack is non-conventional or kind of weird, but they still cooking.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. As much as I like all the Persona songs and stuff, they got that little J-pop type stuff. That Royal Canada is probably topping all them. Bro, I'm looking like, man, this song's something intense, bro. I'm like, this some final boss music, bro. Like, the whole time it ain't no final boss music. I'm looking like, man, I'm scared the final boss music ain't gonna hit as hard as this, man. I'm like, that song really cooking in there. We got the little people in the opera in the background, and I'm like, but aside from playing Metaphor, I'm really trying to beat that game within the next month or two. I think I can do it in the next month or two.
Mm-hmm.
So that I haven't really been playing anything, still at the multiverse antics. Yeah, I'm going on waves in that game because, they be making me mad. I'm like, man, they keep putting us in these unemployed lobbies, bro. I'm like, man, why y'all not to play this game like this? I mean, we had one up
Not the
against like
unemployed lobby.
yeah, bro. I'm looking like, man. I'm like, man, we need to find the people that got jobs, bro, because these unemployed dudes, they too sweet, bro. I remember we went up against like the second and fourth person top in the world or whatever. I'm just looking like, man, the way they was doing us, I just looking like, man, you still trying to play this, bro? Demoralizing, bro. And then they put us against them again. Like we it was like a week later, bro. We fought them again. It's the same people. I was looking like,
yeah.
I'm like, bro, y'all ain't even got nothing reason to play this game, bro. Y'all number 2 or number 4, bro. Let's be real. It's a Black Adam and Jake. So we're like, man, we fought them before, bro. They started doing us that same combos again. I'm like, man, we doing a whole bunch of watching. They're not fighting, bro. I'm like, man, I don't think we stand a chance, bro. Like, I don't even like to give up, bro. So
stand a chance against them. Yeah,
bro,
they do be like
bro.
that sometimes.
Yeah, I just be like, bro, y'all trying way too hard on this game. Like, relax, bro. I'm like, go get a job, bro. Unemployed, bro. So other than that, multiverses, metaphor, both starts with an M. Same old, because that's all I really been playing. Other than that, man, I've really just been chilling, still consistent working out. This morning I gotta go hit day 14 of my workout sessions for the month. And that's really about it, man. I ain't got nothing like super planned. I know I usually be going somewhere like traveling, but I really ain't got nowhere to travel per se. I mean, I can, but I ain't like pressed to go nowhere. So, yeah, I mean, I think I was talking about going to Japan. I got to touch base with Josh in that regard, but yeah, man, I really just been same old, trying to survive this cold, man. I'm like, man, it's cold as hell here, bro. Like, it's wind,
freezing, bro.
And you ever got hit with wind so bad, bro? You want to scream and just ask the wind, like, why is you doing that? Like, why you acting like that? That's how I was feeling, bro. That wind blowing.
Not the wind making you teary-eyed.
Yeah, bro.
Man.
You should. I could only imagine. That is probably terrible.
Terrible. And it's like a 7-minute walk to work, bro.
Oh,
I'm like, goodness. Man, this one is having its way, bro. I had gloves on, man. Wind slicing through them. They be like, man, easy work, bro. Going straight through them gloves, bro. I hear the wind in my ear talking about, man, you can't do nothing, bro. You easy work, bro. Light work. Watch this. Over here, chopping through my gloves, bro. I took my gloves off my hands in agony, bro. I'm looking like, bro, I cannot move my hands right now, bro. I had to, as soon as I walked into work, bro, it's a hospital. I'm on the first floor of the hospital, just standing there, like looking sitting by the window. I'm like, bro, I can't move my hands, bro. Like they froze. And I'm like, this is crazy, bro. I was getting mad, bro. So, ears getting sliced up, bro. I'm looking like, man, they using razor wind on mine.
Razor wind?
Man, if y'all seen Naruto, Danzo be using them vacuum bullets, man, they slice you up, bro. It'd be I'm like, bro. It's bad out here, bro. But other than that, man, everything cool, man. It looked like it's warming up. Yeah, that was like -8 before the wind chill. So, I can't. I'm getting old, bro. I'm like, man, this wind really having an impact. I mean, not this way. I mean, I guess that too, but the cold really having an impact on. I'm like, bro, I'm not going outside. I got one trip in me, bro. Yes. Don't ask me to do nothing. Like,
it's freezing right now, bro. So I don't blame you. It tends to slow down around this time. But yeah, it's definitely freezing. I've been shoveling snow way or more than I ever expected in where I stay anyway, because it's normal, where I used to stay in like Michigan, but it's not that normal here. So, but it is freezing now. I mean, I'm always in a space where I get all the seasons or whatever, but it's just never been this like cold constantly for this long, So definitely weird. But yeah. Anything else before I go into my stuff?
Nah, man, just stay warm and make sure you protect your back when you shoveling, bro. You know that that back would go out, boy.
Well, I ain't shoveling. I'm throwing my little snow blower, but it is technically. I don't like the shoveling part. That junk cooked. I went and bought a snow blower like year or two.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, but it is technically just throwing snow, but yeah, no, for sure. I don't all that extra work for no reason. Like, no, these tools work for you, baby. No, thank you. I ain't gonna go out there. I said I don't need that extra workout. Not right now.
My boy said, "We are not cavemen."
Uh,
SpongeBob, we are not cavemen.
yeah. But for me, I've been playing quite a bit of games. I've been highly anticipating the Night Agent and the Recruit returning on Netflix. I don't know if any of y'all heard those shows, but I like my little CIA weird I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. They just basically they entangled in CIA stuff and they do stuff to or FBI or spies or whatever. And these two shows I was watching before they just came back. Well, the Recruit come back January 30th, and then Night Agent dropped yesterday. So I've been watching that, and the Recruit looks very weird. Not gonna lie, season 2 looks weird. I don't think that that's actually gonna be good. But Night Agent, that's fire right now. So I'm liking that. I've been watching that, and I played Star Wars Outlaws. Star Wars Outlaws, I played and beat. It's not that long of a game. It's like 13 hours. If you just play strictly just the story, which I did. I didn't play any side content. I didn't help any factions. I didn't care for none of their systems. I just played a Ubisoft game for the main story. And I feel like that is how I should play all Ubisoft games moving forward, because most of the time they're overburdening the player and then you don't get to the actual fun part of their game. So Star Wars Outlaw at least has a fun loop that they fixed after, taking away all that, running around, being always not being able to go into combat. I played combat the entire time. I enjoy myself. I really like the mission designs and what we were doing in the missions. They did get a little repetitive, but overall the scenery, what you were going to do, and some of the stuff, it almost had like a small Tomb Raider feel when you had different places you were going and parkouring and all that stuff. So I felt as if it was fun and enjoyable that the whole 13 hours through. As long as I stayed on the beat path, I stayed on the actual path. I didn't go off of it. I enjoy Star Wars Outlaws a lot more than I expected. Now, does that mean that you should run out and get it? Maybe not, but I'm telling you that if you can get it for a cheaper price, and if you enjoy the Star Wars universe and you like to see what it'd be like to be just a thief or a outlaw in the Star Wars universe, I think they do a really good job of capturing that feeling through the main storyline without having to even go and do any side content. Now, the side content is a great addition, and it has intrigued me enough to go back into it, to play a little bit of it, but it was always secondary to the point of, just playing through the main game. So really liked it that way. I think I'm going to play Assassin's Creed Shadows that way, and kind of just go from there when it comes to Ubisoft games. I don't think that should be the mindset of everybody going into these games, because if you're buying the game, you want the game to be fun in its entirety, but everybody can't be Cyberpunk. They don't even got the budget for that, and you got to get used to these companies reusing assets to kind of make ends meet, because again, I don't like the Ubisoft formula. I feel like it's old and dated, but they probably got the best balance sheet more than likely, due to the fact that they don't redo stuff a lot. They kind of reuse the same stuff. So I'm fine with playing a Ubisoft game for their story aspects and just moving on. I think that we have to kind of normalize this space we're in now, where there's actually price to cost to make value, and what you're actually doing within said game. I don't think over bloating it just to make a price tag cut, make a price point is the fun way or the best way to go anymore. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that when we talk about Xbox. But yeah, that was what I was playing, and I've been playing a little bit more Spider-Man 2. Space Marine 2. I just been jumping around, and then I recently started. Well, I put a little bit more time, so I'm like 15 hours into Metaphor now. And I'm having a lot of fun with that game. I am using a guide, honestly, because no, I'm not a fake gamer, I promise. It's just I don't really have the time to want to figure out. I want to see everything without having to kind of think about it, to be honest. So I think that's still a fun way to play it. I understand that may not be the best way to play these types of games, but honestly, those types of games have hidden systems all the time. They have things you probably would never come across, you'll never do, and you don't understand properly enough. So again, I don't have the time to fumble around anymore. I kind of have to have that experience and enjoy it in one go. So that's why I'm using the guide. But yeah, I'm still having fun. I'm still enjoying it. And yeah, I think that's going to be a great way to kind of experience one time through. What else? What else? That's about it. I mean, family good. It's cold as heck outside, like Jalen said. But the family good. We getting snowsuits. We trying to find snowsuits, bro. Trying to find a snowsuit for a kid right now is crazy. Like you cannot find one. We was even looking for like one on Facebook Marketplace because we were trying to just take them out sledding. Can't find one. They are sold out everywhere. And
oh, for real?
Yeah.
Even at like the like sports shops.
Yes.
Like,
even sports stop shops. We was looking at like you talking about like Dick's and stuff or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like those are sold out still. We couldn't find any, and they take a long time to get here basically. So I'm like, what the heck is going on with the snowsuits? And we barely could find some boots because we had to get some new boots this year too. And but now we're gonna just try to layer them all up and go out sledding this weekend. But family good, house good. We just chilling, man. We ain't got nothing going on. Love to be around them and just hang out. So that's what we've been doing. But yeah, let's get into these topics. We already been talking for a long time, and we ain't gotten to nothing. But let's start with, because it's gonna be the bulk of the conversation. Xbox is. So let's talk about Switch first. The Switch 2 announcement. Obviously, they were forced to put this out, but I want to first, before I give y'all any background, hopefully y'all watched at least that announcement trailer. What are y'all thoughts on the announcement trailer for the Switch 2?
Yeah, like a lot of people have said or like echo, when I watched it, I watched it like while I was working, and I just watched out the corner of my eye because it was a very nonchalant or like matter of fact announcement. Like here's what I would compare it to is like whenever Xbox puts out a new controller, it's just like, oh, here's a controller, we're gonna show you some different angles of it. We'll probably pour some liquid to change the color, and then that's the trailer. And I actually didn't notice until going back and look at it that the games that they were showing were new. And that's not like a dig at like, oh, all Nintendo games look the same. It's just like, well, they didn't actually focus on it. I didn't know that Mario Kart footage was like brand new, and it's nothing that we've seen before. Because they didn't focus on it, they didn't highlight it, they didn't name anything. Like I don't even know what text was on the screen. Like there was no voiceover or anything. It was just looking at some renders of the console. Yep. So I think they're not, like I said, they were kind of responding to like public trying to a PR release to get ahead of the conversation. But it doesn't seem like a full, like we're going directly into marketing to show every feature of the device. It's just, yes, it exists, and you'll see it in April.
Yeah. How you feel about the announcement, Jalen?
Shoot, I honestly didn't see the commercial or trailer or nothing like that for it.
Dang.
I seen people talking about it, and I just heard that it's like lackluster and some of the reasons that they did it the way they did it was because of all the leaks and stuff that came out about it. Um, I also heard a little bit of like what Josh had said too, but for my personal, I haven't seen it personally, so
Gotcha.
I feel like I don't really need to see anything about it to make a decision. And then, what was the other thing I was going to say? I mean, I kind of know what I kind of know what to expect. So they do something different, then that'd be a surprise to me. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a first look trailer. And honestly, you're not missing much. You can, if you just look at the image of what the Switch 2 looks like, you got what they did in that reveal trailer. So yeah, you're not missing much there. Like my next question was, did it do anything for you guys? And I'm assuming based off our responses and conversation, it probably did not. It did not move the needle either way. It didn't make you hate it. It didn't make you like it. It just made you, curious about when they actually reveal it truly. Is that pretty much the sentiment for you guys?
Yeah, for me, like, and it's part of a side effect of like it's been rumored for like 5 years now, and there have been so many different types of leaks. So everything that's kind of been rumored is just confirmed. For me, I just want to see the games in action.
Yeah.
Like show me what Zelda looks like. Show it's a new Mario Kart, cool. What do they look like? Also, I guess for me, the backwards compatibility is what I'm more interested in. Like I do want the new games, of course, but it's like how big of an improvement is it over the original Switch? And I think as long as I see that and it looks good, I'll be satisfied. And buy the console probably when it comes out, as long as it's not too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, the idea of not owning a Switch 2 is pretty slim in my mind at this point. It's not like I'm not going to own it. It's just how useful will it actually be? I think them. So next, I want to kind of talk about them and their naming convention and what they're truly doing with this generation. And I spoke to it a little bit on my channel, but basically, the Nintendo Switch 2 is a continuation, it's not to be innovative. It's just to continue the success of the Switch. It is meant to be a bridge between the Switch and the Switch 2. It is not to be a change or something that does not allow for games to not only operate on the Switch, but operate also well on the Switch 2. I don't feel like we're going to get the first big game to be exclusive to the Switch 2 yet. It may happen, but to me, them naming it the Switch 2, them not changing the name any different, the formatting look or the format and look to be this similar and this the same. Only thing that's really going to be like significantly different is the internals, but that format and structure and the concept is all still rooted in Switch. So I got two arguments here, but I kind of want to get your opinion on what this continuation means for the next 7-8 years for Switch 2. Or what do y'all think it means, or what they're trying to signal with this continuation? Or do you think it is a non-starter? Do you think that they could possibly still be looking to break out of the Switch entirely?
Just real quick, I know Josh probably got a little more to say. I think that they had success, and they trying to stay within means of that success with the first Switch. They had huge success with the Wii, but they didn't have huge success with the Wii U. It came out with the Switch, had huge success. So I feel like instead of trying to like divert or something like that, they just trying to stay within means. And then I don't want to say necessarily play it safe, but if they are going to play it safe, they got the name, what the Switch 2 is going to do, and then they might potentially add features or things that might make it way more distinct. Because Nintendo got to put all their little funsy little different things in there,
Yeah.
non-conventional aspects of gaming in there. So I'm not even saying that's going to happen just because they gave it a non-conventional or a conventional name, I guess. Like, I mean, it's a Switch too now. You know what I mean? Like, they ain't never had a game console where they kept everything and kept the name the same. Like, even with the DSs.
Yeah, they never used 2 on anything.
Yeah, they never used 2. So I think they probably trying to be in a little bit safer market, and then maybe put some of those things in maybe a little bit later at a slower pace. So that's what I think that they would do, thinking about their non-conventional aspect in this conventional name like Switch 2. So
okay.
Yeah, and I think the concept of the Switch, docking it and taking it out is still the main quote unquote gimmick that they're going with. So I think that they finally found a gimmick that works. Because the one of the biggest issues, a lot of issues, they got naming convention issues, they got marketing issues, they got releasing games on times issues. But like one of the biggest issues is that they always have a gimmick for each console.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes gimmicks are innovative, like the Wii when it came out, nobody's ever seen it. And so a lot of people were excited about it, and that changed the industry for a couple of years. But with the Wii U, it's like, okay, we got a new gimmick, but that gimmick that they had was not the gimmick that the industry was interested in, which, a tablet screen for your console, when at that point we already had smartphones and stuff like that. So I think they found a good gimmick that isn't too intrusive, that a lot of people could just ignore it, or a lot of people could just exclusively use it handheld, and they decided to stick with it, and that's good. Personally, I like when they have a more interesting name, like Game Boy to Game Boy Advance, or Nintendo to Super Nintendo. But I also understand that it's hard to do like Super Nintendo, and then you get to a new Super Nintendo or Super Nintendo. Like it's a lot easier to go with numbers. So personally, I think if they name their next console something different, is not a Switch, maybe they can at least stick with numbers for a while to make it easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So the next 7 years, we're going to be talking Switch 2. It gives the consumer a direct bridge between the Switch 1 and Switch 2. It's not like this. It's not confusing anyone. Nobody's going into the market. Okay, what's the difference between the Wii and the Wii U? And what was like? Nobody's going to have that problem. They're going to know this was the original Switch. This is just the Switch 2. This is the new. Technically, it's going into those conventions of what an Xbox and PlayStation will do. And it works because people don't have to be confused at the store. Like the Xbox Series X, terrible names. But they did those, and they went with the series versions for some reason. But it is a confusing thing for consumers. The average day consumer doesn't know anything about gaming. They just want to know what's the newest version of that game or console. And Switch 2 being there kind of bridges that gap.
It's related, but like try to look up Ninja Gaiden 2 on like where you can buy it, or looking up Ninja Gaiden games, and it's like Xbox One or Xbox One X or Xbox Series X, and it's very hard to search for video games on the Xbox. So that's why you only can look at the new stuff. But yeah, hopefully with this change, Nintendo completely avoids confusing the consumer.
Yeah. No, like just real quick, even with like the Xbox, I have issues like, hold on, okay, this Xbox One, I'm like, all right, hold on, Xbox One came out back in 2013. This the Xbox Series, like Series X, like, you know what I mean? Like this Xbox One, like even with the DSs and stuff like that, I remember people having backlash about like the DS Lite or the DSi coming out, and it's like, is this like a lateral shift and they kind of switching to adding things, or is it like a whole new console? And I remember people that was like, man, I hope they don't come out with a DSi, like, or they make exclusive DSi games, because like I just got my DS, and you know what I mean? So it just coming to, if you just have a number thing, it's way easier. So like,
yeah. So that really tells me that they're actually thinking about stuff now, and like succession and like continuation. which signals to me
Are
as
they
well.
learning from their mistakes?
That is exactly what I was trying to get to, that they're learning something. But also, maybe this, truly is a, because again, they're not fighting the power game. They're not in that race. They're not really even in the third party race. People buy Nintendo Switches for Nintendo games. They might buy a Nintendo Switch to be their main gaming system if they feel like it's sufficient enough. But most people buying Nintendo Switch either only care about the games that Nintendo is putting out, or they have another console that they can play more high quality third party published games. Nintendo has built a brand around not supporting third parties in the best light, and I don't think that that's going to change with the Switch 2, unfortunately. Now, do I feel like the bump and increase is going to make people want to be on their platform? Absolutely. They need that. They need that they need that voice in their they need that the enticing number to make third party publishers still want to make games for it. So this all just really makes sense. It sets them up for success, and it allows for them to continue off the success of the Switch. What I want to get to is price point and exclusivity. Let's talk exclusivity first, because that will tell me what the price will be, or at least tell me hints of what the price will be. Exclusivity wise, do you feel like the first main Mario Kart is going to be Switch only? Like whatever this next one is, Mario Kart 9, do you think it's going to be Switch 2 only, or do you think it's going to be Switch and Switch 2?
Switch 2 only.
Switch 2
Yeah,
only?
I think it'll be Switch 2 only.
They need that will be the smart choice to me. I'm not saying that it's going to be the most lucrative choice, but I think it's the smart choice. I think having a mainstay Mario Kart for I don't think they ever they double dipped, have they? Outside of, Mario Kart 8 being Wii U, being trapped on Wii U, and then they moving it to the Switch.
Well, all the remasters, they kind of double dip, but as far as like launch, the only time they double dip was Zelda Twilight Princess. It came out on GameCube and Wii at the same time.
Well,
Maybe
Breath
like
of the Wild as well, Wii U and Switch.
Oh yeah, that one too. But yeah, Zelda was like cross-gen. Zelda was the only time that they typically do that.
Okay, I was trying to figure out if there's going to be a dividing factor, and how quickly do you think it'll come? To me, I think that they're super nervous about switching off of the old. They have a built-in, console.
Like install base.
Yeah, install base right now. I don't think they want to abandon it, but at the same time, how do we sell Switch 2s? We need people to want to actually buy the next upgrade. We also know that we're going to be providing them the opportunity to bring most of their games. So they said there was some games that weren't going to be compatible, but most of their games are going to be on the Switch 2. They're going to be able to play them day one when they buy it. So they're already going to have Mario Kart. They're already going to have these things. Is there a necessary need for us to lock it to this Switch 2 console when we're already providing already providing them the option to even choose, because they can still play Switch games on it? So if they want to buy the Switch version, and there's the Switch 2 version, there's different versions, but they both, still compatible with the same device. I don't know. That's my thought on it, is that they want to bridge that gap still. I think it would be smart to force people to kind of have their mainstay, version of Mario Kart be this the definitive version of the game, but you can still have the opportunity to play the newer Mario Kart on this device as well. Because it's been a long time since they made a new Mario Kart, and they have gotten better at producing games on on the Switch, regardless of how old it is. So to me, they could possibly get Mario Kart, whatever that new one is, on the old one. Maybe one of the key things that Digital Foundry pointed out was that they had 24 cars on the track, or at least 24 starting lines, versus, what is it normally? Like, I don't remember. I think is it 16? I don't remember. It's usually a number of
It's different depending on the console, but yeah, it's 8, 12, 16, I think was the max.
Yeah. So we saw the starting line when they were riding past it. They had like 24 lines for people to, start up at, or ready up at. And that's maybe providing more features that the Switch 2 version can only do that the Switch version can't. So I don't know if they're going to lean heavy into, we're going to offer a feature set here that you can't play on the Switch, but you can get an opportunity to play that game with this version. Because I don't know if they want to give it up yet. That's what I'm like. That's my deciding point. Now,
yeah,
that's what's going to tell me pricing. Because if it's very comparable priced to the current Switch, there is no reason for anybody to ever want to go buy the previous one. This is just going to continue their success with the previous Switch and the price point. Because, again, they're still using old tech. They're not going for the latest and greatest. That old tech has been out there. It has been utilized, and they don't need to try to sell us an expensive console anymore. They just need to continue success. Would it make sense to price that Switch 2 at the same price point as the OLED right now, and just let that be the new definitive Switch 2, or the definitive, console? Like, that only makes sense if they're still having that parity. Doesn't make sense if they try to go up to parity. Let they try to start selling $69.99 games. Then it doesn't make any sense. But if they're doing parity between the games and they're actually trying to bridge the gap, it would make the most sense for everybody on the market to be signaled, hey, we're giving you brand new good hardware for the same price you would have paid for this. We don't lose value. You can already tell we don't do sales, baby. So this is what we got, and this is what which is what you get. Why not buy the new one? That would be my thought. If I'm making the decisions, I want continuation. I want immediate success. I want this thing to sell like hotcakes. I want to have abundant amount of them out there, and I want them to just simply replace the Switch original and basically be where the OLED goes down to the price of this regular Switch, and the Switch Lite stays the same. And now we have the mainstay Switch 2 at that OLED price. That would make the most sense to me. And I believe what the OLED came out at what price point? What was this?
$350.
Yes, $350.
I mean, I think that's unreasonable. I mean, I was gonna say they have to probably make a big enough difference between the two to justify people buying the newer technology versus like, well, I just want to play the regular Switch and just go get the other one, or even just.
I don't think it's gonna have an OLED screen. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think it's gonna have an OLED screen. So it's gonna have an LED. So they're gonna save on that cost. Or LCD screen, and it's gonna probably be a higher quality. It's probably gonna be like more so like the PlayStation Portal, where it has a good quality screen. But it's definitely not gonna be OLED. They're gonna save the OLED version to mark up later on down the line. So I think 350 is a really good spot for them. Not gonna lie. I think if it's $400, it's just like, what justifies you being 400? You kind of do the same thing I do. So I think they have to think about that when they're going into pricing. I think 350, I think 300 would be amazing. this thing would sell like hotcakes. But if it's 350, it makes sense. That's all I can say on it. I mean, I'm not an insider. I don't know what they're doing, but it seemed like they're at least trying to make the right calls, and that's always good because they don't normally care. They're trying to make the right decisions, because they want it to be a success. They do not want this, what they call it, the sophomore slump. They always have it with their cons. It's like they're in a constant sophomore slump. So yeah, what are y'all thoughts around pricing?
Yeah, I'm conflicted. I think that they try to like have separate generations where like you have backwards compatibility, but as far as like the new stuff, it's always reserved for the new console. That
Right.
way everybody has the desire to move over. And that's been pretty consistent for all of their consoles.
Right.
And the only time that it like maybe one or two launch games, like day one games, will be cross-platform, but the next few months or the next year, you're not going to see any more cross-platform games for first-party stuff. However, I think that with this thing being kind of rumored for so long, and also them having a lot of announced games that have not come out yet. For example, Metro Prime 4. The last trailer says Nintendo Switch. It doesn't say Nintendo Switch 2.
Right.
So that leads me to believe that Metroid Prime, I don't think it will be a launch game, but it will be one of those games that will be on both consoles. So maybe we could see a situation that they do support the original Switch for a while.
Yep.
But on the other hand, when I said I'm conflicted, is that I guess the rumors says they have a good production amount, like 20 million or something like that,
Yep.
that they want to do the first year. So they're also expecting it to sell fast. So I think that they have some idea of like exclusivity, like we want people to buy this quickly, not necessarily linger too much on the old system. So yeah, I'm conflicted. As for pricing, I think under 400 would be best. I personally don't think it will go down to 300. Just because all of Nintendo consoles, they usually hover between the 350, 450 range. And they're also thinking about the next few years. Like if they go 300 now, what would that look like in the future? As far as like inflation or like the different economies and things like that, because game prices might increase over the next few years again. So I think that's something that they're factoring in. Whoever's doing the pricing is thinking that stuff. So I think they're going to aim a little higher towards 400 personally, but I don't think they should go over 400. Because not necessarily Nintendo is competing with anybody else directly, but they are competing with a lot of other technology at that price point, and that makes it a lot harder to sell it to people. You know, if I can buy a $400 Switch, or I can buy a $400 Steam Deck, or I can buy a $400 VR headset. Like around Christmas time, that type of stuff comes up. But if it's on the cheaper side, they might see more success. Personally.
Yeah. I think them undercutting themselves is the smartest move. If they're going to keep the OLED model on the market, it does not make sense for them to underprice it. And the OLED model is $350. And that's a 2017 type system. If they think that they gonna get anybody to buy this thing at $500, then that is where they'll fail. Period. They will fail, and I think that it will hurt them more on the long run than they ever could think, because all people will do is throughout 4 years of the generation probably hold on to their Switch, and that is where you start to see the continued mistake of their previous past. I don't think 400 is a bright idea, simply due to the fact that you are pushing yourself in a space now where people have to contemplate why does this become so much more expensive when it really still isn't doing. You have to sell it at that point, and that's a scary place to be, because they only have their games, and people have pretty comparable versions of a lot of their games right now. Now, I'm not saying that they can't sell games like on Switch 2 exclusively. I just don't think that they're smart enough. I don't think that's the smart thing to do, to just throw away that 150 million install base. It's just like, I really need this to really work. And the only way I see that working, in my mind at least, if I'm thinking about it, iPhones and all that crap, they get people to buy their new ones based off of subsidies, due to the fact that, you know, people are getting them through exclusively through, not subsidies, but you kind of like they're getting them with their plans or whatever, and they get some money off with the old phone, trading it in, or blah blah blah. There's not that many systems out there built around swapping out consoles, so for that continuation to kind of really be as 1-to-1 or close to 1-to-1 as possible, I would think they would just swap it out for the original, for the OLED pricing, drop that one down to $299, and now you have your Switch replacement, which is now going to be it's not longer the OLED model, it's just the only model, and then you have your Switch 2, and that would be the $350, and that would basically solidify them, and me knowing that they're going to have major success that first year. Because regardless, if anybody's buying a Switch, because they still have good sales on the Switch, they're like, why would I buy the old one when this one costs just $50 more? I'm buying that one. And it's like an easy win. So I don't know, but that's just my thought. I'm not in their board. I'm not on in their meetings. I'm thinking from just a business aspect of how if I want continued success, I'm not going to outprice my audience, and I'm not going to push myself into competition that I'm not necessarily competing with. Now, there is a premium for just being Nintendo. You know, they can make a premium whatever they want it to be. But for them to have this smart of a move, to have this amount of people have success for this long with this console, and they have their solidified generation now, I don't think they want to mess it up at the start. But maybe they won't.
I personally, I feel like they should, I ain't gonna say necessarily like quote unquote discontinue, but they need to try to do something where the switches, especially if they're gonna have like some type of adequate like backwards compatibility, they need to get rid of the regular switches to get the new switches in people's crib.
Yeah,
I think with the type of people that's buying the Switch, like a lot of the people, they not gonna know the difference between the Switch 1 or like the Switch 2 or whatever. They don't even know the difference between the OLED one. Not to say that that's a big enough difference, but if you're gonna be offering the same games, and what's features like how they have like a Call of Duty Ghost situation where you couldn't play Ground War on the 360, but you can play Ground War on the PS4 and stuff like that, or the Xbox One. I think people might get a little confused. You're gonna have people buying the old consoles thinking that's, oh, I don't need to switch to or something, because they might look at it like again, I'm not saying that's what it's going to be, but I think if the price too close, you're going to have people looking at that as a iPhone 16 versus iPhone 16 Pro situation. If the price too close, because people going to be like, why would I pay $50 more for the same thing, quote unquote, right? But now they got less longevity in the system that they get in, and then they might have some type of regret that, like, well, they should have made that a little bit evident. Obviously, salespeople can come in and stuff like that, but most consoles, they're significantly cheaper, and they don't come out as late as like the OLED version and stuff did. They're significantly cheaper than like, you know, its successor. So dropping the OLED price down to like 300 ain't adequate enough, especially if they're gonna price it at like 350 or 400, because it shouldn't even be half the price of what it is. And knowing Nintendo, they're not gonna drop the price that much on the system that they have. Usually they discontinue, or if they do decide to keep it, like they did them red Wii's. You remember the old Mario Kart Wii, like the little red ones that came out when they had the Wii U and stuff like that? Yeah. I think you was able to get those for like $100, like, because they dropped them significantly versus, oh, can I get the Wii U or should I get the Wii? Well, the Wii U 300, the regular way. I think that one was $100. So unless they do like something like that, I feel like it's gonna cause some confusion, especially for somebody to buy a $300 OLED version of the Switch and
Yeah,
it's outdated.
with the handhelds, they just discontinued the old version. Like the DS came out, and then the DSi, they stopped
Hmm.
selling the DS, and then the my bad, the 3DS came out, and then the new 3DS, they will always discontinue the old version because they don't want you to buy the old version. And I
Right.
think that should be the case for the new system. That they want people to buy Switch games, but I don't think they want people to buy Switch consoles. They want them to buy Switch 2. You can still buy Switch games, but we want you to buy the new console.
Right.
Not to say that it's going to be completely disappear, but yeah, I think that they should maybe only offer two SKUs, like you said,
Yeah.
maybe the Switch OLED, or even just
Yeah. I think the Switch
the
Lite,
Switch
Switch
Lite,
OLED,
and
and
then
then the
the
Switch
new
2.
one.
That's it. Those
Mhm.
three. So it's the Switch Lite, which is the one where it's the form factor makes sense. It tells you what it is. When it being light, it's like there is no
And that
docking.
was only like $200,
Yeah, it's
something.
Yeah,
very
so I
cheap.
do
Uh-huh.
And then you have the other one, which is the Switch OLED, which is not going to replace the Switch. That's at 300, and then the Switch 2 at 350. If they do 400, I don't think they'll have a bad. It won't be a bad start. It's just going to be a conversation with people. Like, it's not a no brainer at that point. It's like, I think the price point. I think that they have to meet that price point because they're going to, regardless of what we think of Nintendo Switch games, they have a winning formula of cost to cost of production to revenue return on investment. They have that formula down packed. They can make up their money either in software sales, but I know that they're being greedy because they want it in hardware and software. I don't believe the Switch Lite or the Switch 2 costs $300 to make at all. I know they want that extra kickback, but I feel like as these things, I know they already got a good price on these chips early on. I think as they continue on down the line, they have a new SKU. I feel like they should give up a little bit of that income for now because what they're going to do is create even larger ability to sell to third parties to get their games on it. Like, I just think that that's such a huge benefit that they don't understand and don't care for. I understand they don't have to because they have a lot of games, but I need them to see the success of having like really people going to try to capture that third party money from on their console, and not in such a subpar way. Like, I don't like some games do it well, but other games don't, and then they're dealing with people out there like the selling convention from the biggest selling point for them right now is is the branding. Like, I don't want them to lose sight of they're going to continue to innovate in this handheld space with bigger, harder, powerful PCs and Linux PCs. Like, they're going to continue to do that over the next the life cycle of your console. They are going to go crazy, and you by the time your Switch ends its life cycle, they're going to be three timing the power of what you're capable of. You have to understand that you losing third party support so early on in your console generation is a bad thing. So, how do you combat that? You make it so freaking obvious that you have the biggest market share of handheld in the handheld space that they have no way to deny you. And you got to do that by pricing it accordingly. You cannot do that by making people have a thought to not buy it or to think about it in a different way. Because I understand you're not competing directly. You never will be. But you have to also understand that they are still going to continue to innovate. They're going to continue to make that thing special. And you got to combat the whole, you know, the only time and only reason people pirate is because they don't like either the platform or the access that you provide. You have to understand that too. It is going to continue to be a problem because they're going to be able to run your console games on something else and not deal with your console. And it's like you want to capture a lot of that. And I'm not saying that they have to move in that way because they never have, but to me, I'll be thinking about those things. Those will be factors in my price point, and it'll be factors on how I move forward when it comes to that continuation of my success. So those things they have to think about, regardless of how big they are or how much success the Switch had. They need to think about those things because it is going to be important 2-3 years from now when you have the Switch, the Steam Deck 2, and all these other things that are pushing for better features, better hardware, and you're still stuck on that old, because it's going to be old and outdated when it drops. So, yeah, I just feel like that has to be something. That has to be a thought. Maybe not the biggest thought in their mind, but it has to be in there. So, anyways, we'll see. There's a lot to talk about on the Switch, but I do want to move on to get into the Xbox Direct. And man, oh man. Well, let me make sure because I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I don't know. Did you guys see anything about the Direct? And if you did see anything, what did you see before I start to do my spiel?
My Xbox, my favorite console in the world.
Yeah, Xbox your favorite. What?
I ain't seen that. No, it's my favorite, man, but I ain't see it.
Yeah.
I had to shy away from it. You boys, I love it so much. I'm just like,
Gee Louise.
Yeah, I didn't watch it live, but I seen the recap announcements.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you don't have to necessarily watch it. I guess the biggest thing you saw come out of it, if you guys have anything, and then I kind of go into a recap. Or the biggest thing you're excited for, I would say that.
Yeah, I'd say so personally, I'll just get to it. I don't really care for Claire Obscura, but it's interesting looking IP. So why not bring it to Xbox? South of Midnight looks great. Interested in that. I don't know if it will play that right away because it is an action game, but it's also kind of maybe like have some puzzle platformer elements to it. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of like puzzle platformers, but it looks good enough that I still want to give it my time when it comes out. Doom, Dark Ages, I'd say is my second game, is the number 2 on my list of what I'm excited for because I like the Doom games. Doom Eternal, I didn't like it as much as the first one, but it's still one of the best shooters that came out around that time. And this also looks to continue that like craziness. I just hope that the game is all not 30 hours. It can be short and sweet. Yeah, and I guess the Ninja Gaiden 2-piece that they did, I guess that's what I'm most excited for because it's not an exclusive game, but it is a partnership with Koei Tecmo, and they're bringing back Ninja Gaiden, and it looks like they also acknowledging the cooperation and stuff that they had in the past. The game looks interesting. Ninja Gaiden 4, it's been a long time since those came out, and I like the Ninja Gaiden games personally a lot more than like other action games. Not that they're necessarily the best, but they feel very good to play, and it's very like straightforward with its ideas. Like you go through the levels, you're fighting ninjas, you're fighting Oni, and it's not overly complicated like Neo or anything like that. It's just straight fun. And then they re-released Ninja Gaiden 2. So yeah, I think for me those two were the biggest things I'm interested in. I want to see more of Ninja Gaiden 4, and especially since it's being developed by Platinum Games, in which Platinum Games has had a whole bunch of bad news in the last 2 years, and so this looks like their next home run, hopefully.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that, I mean, that it was a lot of, at least What I'll say about my experience, again, I don't want to step on anybody. Jalen, if you have anything that you want to add, but I don't think you say you didn't see you didn't see it. Did you see anything that you were interested in talking about before I start?
Nah, you don't go ahead, man. Take it away.
Do my thing. Okay. Well, so from when I was watching it, I'm thinking, obviously I'm thinking about Xbox strategy. I'm thinking about Xbox's a whole, brand and what they're looking to do. Initially, when you first start up, they started up with simply Xbox. These are all coming to Xbox Game Pass day one, and boom, these are Xbox Play Anywhere. That means if you buy it on the Xbox or Xbox's app on PC, you're gonna have to be able to play it anywhere with cross save and cross progression. That's just splash screens, nothing else. Splash screens are at the immediate start to let you know that, hey, these games not only will be coming to Game Pass, but you buy one copy, you play it anywhere. Great to see, great to hear, great to be able to understand and have that message be direct and not be convoluted. And as the kind of show went on, we first initially going into Ninja Gaiden 4 and things like that. It became abundantly clear once the first splash screen came up that it said it's coming to PS5. They don't even care to hide that it's coming to PS5 anymore. They it's not their job to trick you into believing that this is a console exclusive. It's just their job now to tell you the benefits of Game Pass and what it means to play on Xbox. That signals to me their strategy is different, and it signals to me that their strategy is not about, which everybody already knows at this point. If you don't know, then you probably just not been paying attention. But their strategy is to play your games wherever you want. And granted, the PC, the Xbox experience is great. Obviously, I want that to also involve Steam, but they're never going to do that. So it is one of those things where you understand if you're buying on Xbox, if you have a PC and you have a Windows PC and you have a Xbox system, you now have the ability to do that cross progression and it works seamlessly. It's a really cool feature and everybody loves it. But as that show went on and I saw that first splash screen, I saw Windows coming out, release date, and it said available on these consoles. I said, hold up. Why y'all doing PS5? Why y'all promoting them? I just don't think they care anymore. And that's fine. That's really one of those things that never really made sense anyway. Why are you hiding that it's going to be on other consoles? But it makes sense. It's in your marketing. It's what you want. And it's a stipulation. I don't think they stipulate them to do that anymore. And it bodes well when you have a shadow drop like Ninja Gaiden 2 Black come out same day, and one console gets it on Game Pass, a subscription, and one console gets it with a full price tag of $50. It's like it's like, okay, well, I could either buy it on this console if I want it, or I can try it out on Game Pass because I have a subscription service that's allowing me that access. And it's day one, like immediately. It's the instant gratification of it's a subscription. It's the instant gratification of a system, of a concept that they're creating that is going to continue to bode well throughout their strategy. Like, these games, and like, talk about a lineup. You're talking of their first half of the year, you're getting Avowed, you're getting South of Midnight, you're getting Doom Dark Ages. You're already gotten Ninja Gaiden 2 Black remade in Unreal Engine 5. Like, they're literally setting themselves up to have a great year, and it's not even halfway over yet. Like, that's what people aren't really like understanding as this kind of goes on. That the fact that they can pull away from the exclusivity and still provide value is crazy work. So to me, if it did feel like good to be able to see them actually do and find success in this small scale game, upscale games, and like this AAA versus AA experience where you have different price points. Because we're going to talk about price now, as we kind of go through this. So South of Midnight, it's April 8th, and that game is $40. It's Xbox Play Anywhere, so you have copies on both ends, and you can tell, and as I was watching it, I could tell this is a passion project for the developers. This is a project that seems as if, and Compulsion has always been accustomed to being like a small indie, group. But when South of Midnight was first shown, it gave me the indication that like it could be potentially a large budget game. And I guess price pointing it does, because I'll be honest, when I watched the trailer and I watched it and I said, man, something's off. Something's off with this animation. Something's off with this, with the way that her combat looks. And I was like, man, what is up with this? Why is it off? They should have brought in somebody that kind of helped with with the actual animation, because it's not all of it. It's the stop motion that's really throwing me, but it's the stop motion with the lack of fluidity when it comes to a stop, or like when the character is at rest and when the character begins to move. There is this very abrupt, weird animation that is going to be irritating to look at. And then I realized it was only $40, and I was like, it does alleviate the feeling of what is considered success for South of Midnight. Because what I do want this game to do is be successful, because we need these types of games to be available to the masses. We need these types of games to have this type of platform, to have this ability to be able to be marketed in a large scale. So I wanted to find success, and conceptually the story and everything is probably the most intriguing out of the bunch, but I don't want them to fall flat on other areas and then still expect us to pay them $60 to $70. $40 is much more manageable. It's much more tolerable, and it does fit to the concept of what Game Pass does, and it does well. It provides a space to just create, to build games that may be out there in a different format that maybe everybody isn't intrigued in, but it doesn't have to be these AAA Hail Marys that we've come so accustomed to, that fall flat on their face, and don't really have a way to rebuild after. I don't want another Concord situation to ever happen again. I don't want a Suicide Squad situation to ever happen again. I know they're in dire mode now. They might still be on payroll, but Rocksteady is absolutely in a space right now where their next game has to be it, or they will lose. Like, that should never be the case for any studio. So I like the fact that I can critique this, and I know that they're not going to be essentially put out of business, because that price point signals that, hey, this is priced at a AA game. This is an indie title, AA. And yes, the concept looks cool, and you will allow people to, I want what the concept looks cool. It is an access. It's not an access issue anymore for them. So it does put them in the best possible place to actually win. And that's really good. That's all you can truly ask for. And I think that bodes well. But don't get me wrong, we have Doom sitting at $70, because that is the AAA game. That is the game that is the premium of for a gaming experience. It is the most polished. It is the most tailored and and customized to exactly what you want that game to be, and it provides the value there as well. And that really is what is starting to come to light for me, because even if you go to Ninja Gaiden, the remake is $50. It's priced at 50. Yeah, you can say or not whether or not you feel like it should be 50 or not, but at least they are understanding that that is just a remake that's going to be priced at that remake's price. And then you have the Expedition 33, which I don't really know what the price is on that one. I gotta look that up. Da, 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 da.
So while you're looking it up, I'll comment on Ninja Gaiden. Personally, I think it's a little too expensive.
Mhm.
Not that the game isn't fun, but it's mostly going to be a graphics update for someone like me who's played all the versions of that game, because this is not the first re-release of Ninja Gaiden 2.
Yep.
Came out on 360. It was a launch title, full price, and it came out on the PS3. Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma, which added more characters, rebalanced stuff like that. Then I think there was another re-release when it came to PS4 and through Xbox One generation,
Yep.
where I think they let the Sigma content be available on both consoles, because at first it wasn't available on both consoles. It was first exclusive to Xbox, then exclusive to PlayStation.
Yep.
Now it's on both, and now we get a re-release of it again. So the game is fun, and the graphics look amazing. Like, it looks very beautiful. But this is a third kind of fourth re-release of that game. So $50 is a lot. But since it's also on Game Pass, somebody like me, I just want to play it. Maybe I don't even finish it. I can just boot it up. That's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but yeah, it's not full price, but now the games are 70. 50 is still a little high, even though it's like 20-30% lower than $70. But yeah.
Right. And then like it does throw a monkey wrench in there when you look at Expedition 33, and that's $50. That's a brand new experience, brand new concept, not the same. Now, can you make an argument that maybe Ninja Gaiden 5 remade and Unreal Engine 5 isn't the best? But looking at some, I did go ahead and look at some of the differences between the two. I can understand why they would want that to be the premium, definitive version of their game, but they did bring gore back. They did bring a lot of the stuff back that people were upset about that game for. So I understand, like, regardless of what I think obviously Resident Evil 4 remake is a better game, but that was $50 as well. And then you're looking at Ninja Gaiden 2. This is the price point for when they think that they've done enough in regards to a remaster or remake, just like Dead Rising. I'm accustomed to this price point, I guess. I'm not saying that it's the right one, but I'm accustomed to it. But then there's, like I said, Expedition 33 being a $50 game, and it bodes well when you're putting them on a platform, where they're next to Doom, and they're still showing well, and they're still providing people with excitement. Because that tells me they have variety in their studios, at least the people that they're working with. Sandfall is not, I don't believe that's a studio that they own per se, but their studios, at least the people that they are in close partnership with, they understand the difference between what the value of a game is and the cost to make that said game. And like, understanding that is truly key to the next generation of games, because it ain't pushing for AAA every time. It's just not. It's just not feasible. It doesn't make sense. So Xbox strategy is coming to life in these prices. It's coming to life in that instant gratification from my subscription, and it's coming to life that we don't care that if you buy it on the PlayStation. We just want you to play the game wherever you want to play it, but we're gonna keep offering you this value. So that is what truly was the winner for this direct for me. And as they continue to go on, obviously we got plenty of games to play. It's a great time to be any type of gamer for real, for real. I'm now just finished Outlaws. I was going to go into Spider-Man, but now I'm going to play Ninja Gaiden 2 all the way through again because that is just one of those games that I really, really loved and probably going to just now have the ability to kind of play a slasher. And I was looking for some type of slasher like that not too long ago, honestly. And I was thinking about playing Neo 2 again, but I was like, I don't really want to play it. But so now I got something to play. I got something that I can actually play that's fun, enjoyable, and I actually know the game and that's just something that's really, really, like I said, instant gratification that make that feel good moment of when you know that regardless of what you think about the company or whatever, they provide in value where others can't. So it's cool to see. Definitely cool to see. But yeah, let's talk about some of the games. So South of Midnight, I'm gonna start there. Again, I told y'all it was a low point for me. Simply because I was judging the combat. I need that combat to look fun through and through. And it wasn't given like Ori and the Blind Forest type polish for an indie game. It was given very much so compulsion. And I was like, ugh, why didn't they work on a little bit more of these animations? Now, again, this is over YouTube. This is compressed. This is problematic in regards to what you may be representation of what you visually may see. Hopefully, they may have 120 hertz mode, and maybe that I will use that mode to play the game. I don't know, but whatever I can do to kind of make the animation seem a little bit more seamless, I will try. It wasn't about the fluidity when the animation began. It was literally between animations that I felt like, okay, they need a little bit more polish here. But that is like such a minute point when it comes to story, character building, concept, and character like art design and all that good jazz. I think that they did a really, really good job of selling the world. Do I feel like they did a good enough job bringing new people on that wasn't already interested? No, I don't think that they did a good job. But that's okay because again, they have built in a failure net. Like when you understand how to budget and how to plan for the concept of your game, there is no real lose here. They already are being published on Game Pass. They already have a bag. It's now looking to get more people intrigued in the value of their concept so they can be greenlit for another game in return. But that already embedded safety net is such a good feeling when you're just trying to be creative and create something. You don't want to feel like you're just pressured to meet a number. So to me, that will showcase in the sound design, and what they decide to do with their the music, in the fusion of like even they were talking about how the music gets to get amped up and it has that Louisiana style to it. And like I said, the I just like the concept of this game way more than the gameplay could ever deter me from playing it. I just wanted that to all be hitting on all cylinders because I wanted to see that when I thought it was $70 or $60. But when it now is at that $40 price tag, I can understand some cutbacks. I can understand why. It's just being a more educated consumer. So, I don't know if you read on it, saw it, anything to add to that one before I move on to the next. Nope. Cool. So next thing I wanted to talk about was Doom Dark
My
Age.
bad. I was muted really quick.
Oh.
I was just gonna echo what you said. I think the game looks good. I'm excited for the story. I think it looks intriguing. But I personally didn't have any negative points from watching both trailers.
Okay.
Like the game, the combat looks fine. Like I'm not expecting good combat from it, and I don't mean it in like a bad way, but I'm not expecting it to be deep. I think it's more of a challenge where you learn what the ability is they give you, you do it correctly, you get through the challenge, and you get to this next part of the story. So, but yeah, I would say it. I think it reflects of the price tag, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And in some cases, it exceeds it, especially when it comes to like the storytelling and like the design of these characters. I really like these different monsters and how they look, and even the choice of the animation makes it all feel like a really it's just like a cool concept. So sometimes it does break out of that $40 shell to me. Like I said, Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisp are really great concepts to me, and how they were able to nail some really really fluid and precise gameplay, and the cool art design and the painted effect all made it just stand out above the rest of the games, and you felt like this is a premium game for this price point. You know what I'm saying? That's what this sometimes hits. I just wanted it to do that with the gameplay, because again, my focus most of the time is gameplay, but storytelling, because I've played plenty of games that didn't have the greatest story. I mean, greatest gameplay. I think the storyteller will just outshine it. So, um, I don't want to discredit too much. That's what I guess that's what I'm trying to clean it up a little bit, but definitely, super excited for it for sure. Um, so moving on to the next, let's move on to Expedition 33. And honestly, I think y'all will like this game. Well, at least what I was watching and what they were telling me about it. We have individual within our character, like actual playable character that can turn into any monster we have defeated. Really persona-like aspect to it. You have these real-time triggers and real-time events that kind of coincide with your JRPG elements, so you always have a reason to be paying attention. Granted, that may not be the funnest concept, but you can. Basically, what they were trying to say is that they tuned it enough so if you're really bad at real time events occurring and parrying on time, you have enough strategy and potions to be able um, to basically just ignore it and still win. But another thing that they were also talking about is the customization of the characters and the very much so that story and the world that they have built. And they've worked on that story for about 6 years or so, which is really cool to see, because they had a conceptual story at the beginning of the game. They didn't have a game and then tried to make a story around it, which most games always should start with a story. But this one was one of those things where the world was built up around that story. And for me, I'm not so much intrigued about this concept of this painter coming and killing everybody. I'm more so intrigued about just um what that does to the livelihoods of most people. And then obviously this is Expedition 33. I really wanted more of experiences with the people in that said world, and I think that we're going to get it, because what I was seeing during that is you're moving around, you're going to different hubs, but at the same time, when they showed the overworld, they were basically saying that yeah, it's explorable areas, but it's not as townsy as I would want it to be. I want to go to a town, do some side quests, and see some of the impacts of this person painting and killing everyone. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we're going to get a lot of that, but I do think the story is going to be well knitted and tight to the point where it feels good to experience. So, two things that really stood out to me, and probably where I would be playing it, is they use a lot of upscaling to around the hair. I was like, there's a lot of articles and artifacts there, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna play this on PC, because if there's gonna be like FSR2 and FSR3 heavy, and it really has a low input, low resolution, I'm gonna get annoyed. So I'm probably gonna play on PC, which is good because they give you the option to play it wherever you want to play it. But I'm playing on PC simply due to the fact that I don't really like the whole artifact thing. I never have, probably never will, and I think if that is what's I don't think they haven't finished the game. They just said that they said you shouldn't take this as final code, but I'm like, yeah, all right, sure. But if it is still looking like that on the console, I probably will just end up playing on my PC, which is totally fine. And the other key takeaway from me is that it's a much bigger than I expected. It's a much bigger game conceptually, and things that you can go into and do in the game that I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be as big. So it does provide me a little bit of comfort that they're going to have more to their game. It's going to be deeper than I expected. There's a lot of different builds that you can do within the game, and there's a bunch of different skills that they provided for each character. So I didn't think it was going to be on like a large scale of a game like Persona per se, but it does seem like it has the deepness of it, from the character that can turn into different monsters, from the different character customizations to these different like you can equip certain modifiers to your players and things like that as well. So it does feel as if they are not only going to be providing a great story, but they're also going to have deep combat or deep gameplay, and that is fun. And if it's engaging enough, I would definitely go around and try to fight all the secret bosses and things like that, which you normally wouldn't do in these types of games. So I'm expecting this to be a silent hit, just from based off of that. And I don't really know. I don't really have anything else. I think the world itself is just super creative, and I want to kind of live in it for a little bit. But really, if they were to nail the not only that concept, or at least the story, but also provide meaningful side quests to that story and how it tie it all together, I think that is more interesting to me. I want to see how that impacts their lives. But they already said they're going to explore that with the main characters. But just seeing that from a different aspect is really cool too. So I don't want everybody to be sad all the time. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, I don't need every character in the game to be sad because they're going to die soon. I need some people to have hope, which they said some people will have hope. And then I need to live vicariously through quest lines, because I don't really want a non-cheery companion or person around me all the damn time. So that's just how I like to play my games. That's how I like them to be introduced. That's what there's a reason why you always have a hero as your main character, because he's always cheery in a very doom and gloom world. I don't want doom and gloom always around me, if that makes sense. But what are your thoughts on if y'all saw anything about Expedition 33, or any thoughts around what I just talked about?
Yeah, I looked at the trailer. I think that like you said, the world is larger, and I do like how they've set up the art style to make it it's still like a very fantasy look, but it's also calling back to like old like Final Fantasy RPGs, like flying around the world, like the overworld and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think it looks interesting. Personally, however, I don't think it's a game for me.
Yep.
Because it reminds me a lot of, two things. I don't like the character designs. I don't like the character art styles.
Okay.
It's a personal preference. Like, obviously, Final Fantasy and things like that are anime inspired. But this is not anime inspired. They're more realistic, but they're also in like a very cartoony, like sort of doll size, like not normal adult, like human size. They seem like toys looking. And now personally, I don't like that. And the gameplay, I think it's interesting, but it also reminds me a lot of other Xbox 360 RPGs that I played. Like the 360 had a whole bunch of RPGs like this, where they have like quick time events in the combat, or it's very flashy, or things like that. And they were fun, but I don't think it's gonna get me to play this over something like Lost Odyssey, which I still haven't played, or other games that I played on the 360 that were fun, but probably looked graphically or artistically more interesting. But that being said,
Gotcha.
I don't think the game looks bad at all. What I would say is I hope that the game is successful, and then companies like Square Enix can use this as an example to do something more interesting with their remakes. Like, go ahead and remake Final Fantasy IX like this instead of like a what's that game? Octopath Traveler, like HD 2D thing. Like personally, I think the HD 2D thing is kind of tired and dry
Yes.
concept. They've been doing it too much. So yeah, you can remake your old games, but do it in an interesting way. Like it's the old style, but you really just made the whole world look very high definition.
Yeah.
As long as it fits with like the art style. You ain't got to completely change it. But I think this is a good example to show a classic JRPG with modern graphics. That's all.
Gotcha. Yep. So this one is $50 and it comes out in May. I'm trying to find it's April 24th. So not that far from here where you'll be able to play this game as well. So next up, let's talk Ninja Gaiden. And I'm gonna talk about it briefly. Ninja Gaiden 2 is Ninja Gaiden 4 seems to be really good for one reason. Platinum. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying whatever they did on Razor Edge. Yeah, y'all can keep it. It was artificial difficulty. I felt like, I didn't like that game. But Ninja Gaiden 4 seems as if they're going back to a normalcy of what, because the Ninja Gaiden has always been wait and stalk and kind of like more so very block fight kind of situation. It wasn't always like a bunch of rapid movement. It did have those moments, but it was kind of like you had to chain those things together. And I feel like with Ninja Gaiden 4, we're going to have Platinum put their spin on what that means and what that feels like. And I also feel like they had two different play styles in there. Ryu is essentially what Ninja Gaiden or Team Ninja did, and then Kaden, or I forget his name. I think his name Raiden. I don't remember his name. The guy that they are introducing, because you're gonna have two main characters. And he's more Platinum with all of his large, open, big surrounding hits and his basically area effect damage versus what Ryu was able to do. Now, obviously, Ryu gets spears and then you're off to the races. But it's one of those things where I felt like there was almost two different studios making these two different characters, if that makes sense, as I was watching the gameplay at least. So I really do find that is the most intriguing part. I'm not saying that I'm not excited for this Ninja Gaiden 4, but at the same time, it was really poor. It was a really poor game the last time they tried one, and I didn't like it. So I'm just happy that not only are they bringing in Ninja Gaiden again, but they're also bringing in a new team of passionate action that creates action games that will be able to help with this hack and slash become more modern. So really excited about that. Really happy to see that they're, that Ninja Gaiden is back in full effect, especially with 2 already being released, and now we have 4 as well. Any thoughts on that? Because that's pretty much all I have. It's priced probably at $70. It's supposed to be AAA, so.
Yeah, the two characters are very different. Ryu's very classic Ninja Gaiden gameplay, same weapons in the trailer that he had before, same moves. But the new guy, he's got a giant sword and he's doing like very like more anime stuff than Ryu. Like Ryu is a very obviously anime ninja, but he's doing more like fighting game like moves, whereas this guy, he's doing flaming dragon swords and flips and triple kicks and stuff like that. So yeah, two very different gameplay styles. I think it's cool because maybe they did run into, I guess, creative block with the Ninja Gaiden 3. Like they kind of didn't have any new ideas, and the ideas they tried weren't very good.
Mm-hmm.
So having a new character able to try brand new stuff and also offering Ryu for people who just want that classic experience is probably the best way to go about it. Yeah, I think Platinum, I like all their games pretty much. They're good at combat, and I think Ninja Gaiden fits their style. So yeah, happy to see it. I'm glad that it didn't go the way of like we're gonna slow down Ninja Gaiden, we're gonna make it like Neo. It's still Ninja Gaiden, just with some extra stuff sprinkled on top.
Yeah, for sure. So definitely glad about that as well. So that's what I'm really enjoying about that. And then we had that Doom Dark Ages. And man, is it big, and like it's big and slower, which is kind of crazy. So when I was watching it, I kept going back and I was thinking in my head, I was like, the first Doom game I played was like very long ago. And all I did was strafe in that game. And then as soon as I saw it, and I was like, dang, he's strafing a lot. He said it right after he said that. He was like, we're basically forcing you to fight, essentially. We don't want you jumping around. We don't want you doing this. We want this to be a totally different experience from Doom Eternal, and we want it to totally be a different experience from run and gun play. So I really like this concept of just stop and be some like tank walking around in the field. I thought the shield was a really cool concept. I thought that the shield having a parry option is crazy work. I really like the parry stuff. So it's gonna have like this juggling effect of feeling of being strong, being big, being powerful, but also having like a bunch of defensive options as well. So from what I got from all of this is the fact that they're redoing the gameplay each time is kind of fun and kind of enjoyable in itself. But not only just redoing it to redo it, but actually bringing in meaningful changes that make it feel even more Doom inspired than it already was. So the strafe combat, big thing in Doom. They are bringing that back. The obviously the shield is a little bit different, but they also have like now they're doing the mech, and I forget the name of the flying mountable. I forget the name of it. But then on top of that, they're expanding exploration, and you don't necessarily have to do things in order, which really sold me on, okay, but what do you go into Doom and look for? Like, I was like, cool, it's exploration. But when you're going down those, I guess linear paths, there's some exploration there, and it's fun to do that. But I don't know, how do you make that fun and engaging the entire time? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to fall off the beaten path, and I'm not running into enemies, and then all of a sudden I'm surrounded by these things. So then they don't feel like just explorable things. They may just feel like additional small dungeons per se than anything. So I don't know. I like the idea of exploration in games. I do. But sometimes a tightly knit, experience goes a long way too. So I'm a little cautious about that, but I have never seen a Doom look this inspired, especially when it comes to like the art style and what they have running around and roaming. I feel like they in a bag right now. So I really do give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, I'm not gonna doubt them at all. So those are the things that really, help me feel like, yeah, this is gonna be a great game. Anything that stood out for you or you guys?
Yeah, so like I like 2016 a lot, and I think it was a good balance of classic Doom and new ideas. Eternal I also enjoy, but like you said, with the straight play and also having like 10 different weapons and every enemy having specific weaknesses, and then there are 50 enemies in the room, and they all spawn at different rates. It became very hectic, and that can be fun, but also the game is very long, like very long campaign, like many different levels. So with this, I'm hoping that by not necessarily slowing it down, but changing it where you're not necessarily having to juggle 12 different weapons to kill 3 enemies is a good idea. And the exploration, I'm personally hoping that means that the challenges can be spread out, because in Eternal, like, you were doing a lot of platforming and stuff like that, but then of course you get to like a room and then the doors lock and 50 enemies spawn. So I'm hoping that with the exploration they can spread some of that out so it doesn't feel like just condensed rooms. But yeah, like I'm not expecting like real deep side quests or stuff like that, maybe some power-ups and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully they don't overdo it on the exploration, but the bigger spaces, I would say, I guess, is what I'm hoping that changes the pace of the game.
Yeah.
For the better. Yeah. But it looks great.
Yep. Combat wise, with the melee and the malice and all that stuff, it does feel like you got like it's more just on the ground combat that I'm used to, and juggling maybe a few different inputs to kind of parry and things like that. It's going to be a different way to play this game. And obviously they took away the glory kills because they wanted it to be seamless transition between a glory kill and continuing the fight. So it's just going to, I feel like they're doing they're tightening up the experience to the point where it is just fun to play. So that's what I want to see. That's what I'm looking forward to. And going back to their roots of what Doom is always great to see. So I think for sure this is probably going to be the more interesting one for me, because again, I liked Doom, and Doom Eternal was a lot, but Doom 2016? I forget when it came out. But when that one initially came out, it was a lot of fun. I just, it became a point of where I never finished it. So I'm thinking that this was going to be the very first one that I actually finished all the way through. So, but yeah, I mean, I didn't want to spend too much time on all this, which I did already. So it is what it is. But those were what we're going to be able to talk about today, because we are out of time. Anything else y'all want to add before I wrap this up?
No, we got a good amount of stuff in. It's almost February, so Monster Hunter. But I guess, again, I want to ask y'all, is there anything that you're looking forward to that comes out soon?
Avowed. Now, I'm only looking forward to Avowed because the people are saying it's good. So it wasn't on my radar. Right? It does. It come on like 24 days.
Okay.
Yeah, Avowed release date is February 13th.
February 13th. Okay, yeah. Very close. I'm not looking at stuff for it. I just want to go in fresh. But yeah, it's very soon.
So we got, like I said, we eating good, man. February, then gonna be March, and then April, and then we got all those games coming, and then we got May, and that's Doom, and then it's gonna feel like time is flying if you're actually playing these games. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to thank you guys for listening and watching, or whatever you're doing, how you getting this. You can always check us out on the BCD Universe channel. You can also check this out wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple. You know the deal. If you got to this part, you the real OG. Just want to thank you, as always. But we'll be back next week with more topics, more things to discuss. So until next time, peace.